Patriots will be on at 4:25. Now, I want to welcome everyone on Facebook Live. If you haven't yet, please like our 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities Facebook page, as this is allowing us to basically broadcast to you online and also archive our shows very easily on the 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities website. So we already have Chuck Hendershot coming in. Let's see here. I do want to talk a little bit here as we go out on Hall of Fames that are coming about. I also want to discuss, as I said, we'll have a media watch coming up. And I'm trying to get to some old news, however, on this show. And I guess to begin with, because we've had so much stuff going on in the sport, with the coaching changes, I don't know, we haven't had time to get to this stuff. Case in point, the Giancarlo Stanton trade. You realize that the Yankees lineup is going to have Brett Garner in center, Aaron Judge in left, Stanton in right, Gary Sanchez behind home plate, Greg Bird, okay, no great shakes there at first, but even he's got a little pop in his bat, even if he does hit 200. Didi Gregorius, Aaron Hicks, Chase Headley, Gleyber Torres, or Ronaldo Torres. This is a pretty decent lineup that Aaron Boone's got to just figure out who hits where. And, the thing about this, and by the way, I do like the hiring of Aaron Boone. It took, believe it or not, the Yankees longer to find someone with no managerial experience before to lead their team than it did the Vols to hire a coach. Well, that's, thank goodness for small favors, Tennessee fans, huh? Thank goodness for small favors. But I look at this, and it just, to me, is another sign of, well, the rich get richer in baseball. All right, let me give you this circumstance right here. Stanton had the no-trade contract. It looked like that he would be somebody that, the Miami Marlins could absolutely build around, and you could have a strong franchise there. They do have 2 world titles in their history. They've got this beautiful ballpark. It's got, the Clevelander out in left field. It's a new kind. It's built where the Orange Bowl is, which means it's right close to downtown Miami. It's actually in a neighborhood called Little Havana. To tell you the truth, in Little Havana, they've got bars on the windows of the houses next to the ballpark. Used to be called Riverside in Miami. All right, that's enough of Magic City history right there. But the idea that, Stanton could stay with the Marlins, that Marlins fans, that South Florida baseball fans could actually, bond to the player. No, it's just like that lesson learned of winning the 1997 World Series. Okay, we were good here once, and now everybody's got to go because we lost $15 million to win the World Series here because we just don't get the TV revenue that other teams do. Now, I realize that there is now a luxury tax in TV revenue, especially the bigger that TV contracts nationally get, the more that smaller market teams can compete. That's fine. But why is Stanton a Yankee then? Why is Derek Jeter the first thing that he does when he becomes the owner of the Marlins? Start to clean house. Why does he do that? Bothers me immensely. I just see this as, I mentioned before yesterday, and you can read about it on Medium, or we'll be posting this on our 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-Cities website, and I was very critical of the idea of Marvin Miller becoming a Hall of Famer. Really even being on the ballot, I'm relieved that he's not going in. I think that would have been the most polarizing choice, even more so than a Pete Rose, a Barry Bonds, anybody like that. You'd be enshrining a union leader. That's all you'd be doing, enshrining a union leader. Should agents, therefore, be enshrined into the Hall of Fame? How many owners? Is Colonel Rupert in the Hall of Fame? It wouldn't surprise me if there were owners. I know in the Football Hall of Fame, for instance, Jerry Jones just got inducted. Art Rooney, the Chief, is in the Football Hall of Fame. I do understand that. Even so, though, these guys gave teams to the fans. What did Marvin Miller give to the fans? Players give home runs. They give strikeouts. They give great defensive plays. Managers give victories with their strategy. Although they're not officially in the Hall of Fame, there is a wing, the Ford Frick wing, let's say, for broadcasters. And they will give you, the message of the game, the entertainment of the game and all this. Making the fourth inning of a 7-1 contest entertaining. Yes, that's a broadcaster. There's a writer's wing. What is it? It's called the Spink Award. All right, Bill Conlon shouldn't have won it. He did. Ugh. But information, that's what they're giving. And yeah, writers, they're part of a game too. I'm not... What did Miller give us? Baseball strikes, the $600 box seat ticket, transactions so that in the case of Giancarlo Stanton, a player won't finish up his career with the same franchise unless he's Derek Jeter, who ironically is the guy who ultimately is responsible for sending Stanton to the Yankees. You don't think the Marlins and the Yankees could be working out something like a Kansas City A's New York Yankees deal like the old days, do you? Well, if they did, there'd only be about one of 5 franchises that currently really do have agreements like that with the big market teams in baseball. Hey, look, Garrett Cole, they're talking about trading him from the Pirates to the Yankees. Right now, there's talk that, Andrew McCutchen is on the block. Even Josh Harrison. Okay, I'm an old Pirates fan, but look. My goodness. Who's left to be a player on the Pirates if they let those guys get away? There's nobody, even in a losing season. You want your favorite player. You come on out. Going back a few eras and such, okay, Dale Murphy, still a reason to watch the Braves, even when they started to lose. Flip side, maybe contemporarily now, who's out there now for the Braves and all that? Dansby Swanson. Yeah, there you go. That's who you go. But, whoever, a Matt Allen, whoever it is, an up-and-coming star, somebody to continue to watch a last-place team. Right now, no, we're just getting like what the Padres were last year. Bad team. You're hoping somebody emerges. That's tough. All right, I want to thank some people watching in here. I got that on our Facebook Live. I think I'm broadcasting this on my own personal site. S.D. Wilhoit, voice of the Greenville Astros. He agrees with me on Marvin Miller. Hey, what do you think, by the way? 743-6123. Also, love the description of what a broadcaster does. That's absolutely correct. Thank you, SD. And a lot of other people. I think the great Mesop Bainham, who is a guy, Mesop Bainham is watching. In terms of sports, I'll make Mesop Bainham. Mesop, if you're here, I'm going to make you a star. Here's a guy that was cut from his Pony League team, and yet as a pitcher in his baseball career, he's been able to get both Lou Merloni and Jose Canseco out. If you stay with something long enough, it'll come to you. Karsick, up there in Syracuse, good luck with your studies up there and all that. Karsick Ventakaran, former, him as a local sportscaster on WKPT and a newscaster, I guess news reporter on WCYB. He's studying up at Syracuse to get his master's, and so soon you'll be seeing him on a network level. And I, believe that. He's a friend of the show. He produced a documentary on a former ETSU basketball player from the glory days that I'd recommend everybody check out. And all of a sudden I'm going to have to think about this real fast. And Karsick, if you're out there, just tell me. As I watched this, and I remember we spoke of how he played minor league baseball in the Phillies chain, and all of a sudden I can't remember the name of the player. He's one of the greats. And there are going to be people out there screaming his name out, but it's time to move to the next segment here of stuff that we just didn't get to because of all the coaching search talk.
Thank you for calling.
We've got somebody here. Wait a minute here. What do we got here? Tri-City Sports Now, you're on the air. Tri-City Sports Now, you're on the air. Tri-City Sports Now, you're not on the air. Oh, well, so much for that. Chris Bosch's name has come up in the news. His mom is named a suspect in a drug trafficking ring. You thought Lorenzo, the Ball family, had it tough. We were at UCLA. Now we're in a last-place team in Lithuania, and we're making, the coach is selling meat out of his trunk. Have you heard this? This is basketball culture. Anyway. But yes, Chris Bosh was the target of his mother. Bosh had nothing to do with this, thankfully. Target of a police drug trafficking raid. And the NBA star's mother is named as one of the suspects. This is a little bit of an older story. It's from about a week ago, but I just looked at this, and I said, I can't believe this. Anyway, actually, I can believe it. That's said. Last week, Friday morning, the DeSoto Police Department raided her home after obtaining a search warrant in a drug trafficking investigation. One of the people on the search warrant, Frida Bosch, she apparently lives in the home. The cops, however, believe it is owned by her son. There was a large amount of drug paraphernalia recovered consistent with narcotics trafficking. Officials believe crack cocaine and heroin were being trafficked through the home. You know what? I know that that's not Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat, but it is his home, so that he may be owning this place, so you could be linking a little bit to that. I gotta tell you, I am sick and tired of stories like this coming from pro sports in general. And I have no problem, by the way, in getting rid of such players if there is a link to be made, and a significant link. And it may be that Chris Bosh has no idea what his mother is doing. I mean, may sound a little far-fetched, but no. I mean, he's out playing professional basketball. What's going on here? You would think that what pro basketball players are paid, that he might be able to support his mother into a circumstance where she doesn't have to be an alleged drug dealer. But nevertheless, I do not know their relationship, although I will say that if he owns the home, it would seem like they are not estranged. Nevertheless, be it Jamal Lewis, be it even stories that I've heard of NFL players who will be giving some of their checks back to street gangs, I've got no place for this. I mean, for me, that's worthy of banishment. Outright. Pete Rose. My opinion. I have no time for anything of that nature. Let's see, we've got another story. I haven't gotten into it just a little bit with Eli Manning. Could we be seeing the end of Eli Manning these last 3 games? I guess he's back to starting. By the way, how botched did Ben McAdoo take that? At least you could at least say with the Giants this year, as they likely go to a 2-14 record, that, well, Eli Manning was able to continue his, consecutive games started streak. He's still the really healthy, that's one thing he's durable, you can say about Eli Manning. By the way, although we did hear yesterday Terry Bradshaw and Colin Cowherd on 1420 NBC Sports Radio Tri-City say that he always felt like he was going to get hurt more in the pocket than running from it. Heck, I can remember him getting hit as he threw the winning touchdown pass in Super Bowl X and leaving with a concussion. Actually, I don't remember that. I just know the highlight film and the history. But nevertheless, I would only point this out that it would seem to me that pocket quarterbacks like a Manning, and I've said this, they're sacked less, and they're actually, in that case, getting the ball away. The fear of the late hit from the defensive lineman, who knows? It does seem that they're maybe stepping up, missing the tackler, making a miss, that is preventing some injury. But where does Eli go after this year if the Giants get rid of him? And frankly, you'd like to almost see... I can understand wanting the player to play his entire career with one team, but it would almost seem like that would mean the end of Eli Manning's career if that's what happened now. And that would mean the end of an era. No more Mannings, except maybe making commercials in pro football. Unless Peyton decides that he wants to buy into the Cleveland Browns or something of that nature. but certainly not onto the field. At least not until we see possibly the Manning family, produce Archie's grandson, goes out and starts being the great Hall of Fame quarterback or whatever. By the way, if you look at the career numbers of Eli Manning, I could see him wanting to stick around for another year or two to add on to them, because then I think he would be a surefire Hall of Famer. I mean, you get more than 50,000 passing yards. You have the 2 Super Bowls. I mean, you have 2-minute drives against undefeated teams to win the Super Bowl. It's hard for me to say that you're not only not the best 2-minute quarterback or one of them in football history in the case of Eli Manning, but you're also, something of a Hall of Famer. Those are football memories for the ages, even if it takes an Ahmad Bradshaw or whatever, and the second time you did this, to fall in backwards into the end zone. That was quite the memorable Super Bowl winning touchdown. But nevertheless, it does seem, however, a lot of people were saying, well, where could Eli go after this? And some people mentioned Jacksonville. I'm not sure Jacksonville isn't going to have a bye in the playoffs and possibly go to the Super Bowl with Blake Bortles. You heard me. I'm not picking it. I am saying I think they're a legitimate contender. However, I don't know if anybody out of the AFC is going to win the Super Bowl this year. It seems like they've got the count 0-2 against them in terms of winning the World Championship. And I'll say the reason why is look at some of the head-to-head matchups. Now, I guess the Patriots did beat the Saints early on in the season, but it just seems like, take the Steelers. Losing to the Bears. Not losing, but it takes a 53-yard field goal at the gun to beat a Aaron Rodgers-less Packers team. It just seems like when you look at the strength of the conferences, there are 3 teams that you say, those teams are really, really good in the AFC. But the NFC, my goodness, it looks like they could have 7 teams that you say, I think that team might be worthy of winning the Super Bowl. Think about this. If I can get the music to play, I tell you what, even if I can't, we're going to be talking about Hall of Fames. Sugar Bowl, NASCAR, and rock and roll. Tri-City Sports Now.